You ran for president 3 times.
Right.
People who support you don't just support you. They are adamant. Sometimes they drive me crazy because they are such intense supporters. Nobody else in politics, not even Barack Obama, has the level of support that you do. And I don't mean blacks who support Obama who say, well, he's black and I'm black. I mean, they understand everything you stand for. They can repeat your platform. They can talk about ideas. I don't think there's been anybody in public life. Reagan would come the closest. It's not even in the same realm. It may not be 51% of the people, but it is this following of people who really understand your ideas. They don't think you're pretty. They don't share your race. They don't want to be your friend. They espouse your ideas. Why can't we get that to 51%?
Well, in some ways, you don't have to worry too much about that because you concentrate on a small number of people who influence the 51%. The 51% is important. They have to endorse the government, and their endorsement will allow certain governments to exist. But you have to have people in leadership to espouse something worth believing in. So I've challenged the status quo. People, the 51% or greater, endorse the system because we've been taught to for the last 100 years, whether it's foreign policy or monetary policy or welfare system or the inflationary system. It's been endorsed. It's been taught to. Even those individuals over this last century had instincts that opposed this. They were browbeaten. The system browbeats them. The media browbeats them. The schools, the movies, and the government, till the point where you're told that you're unpatriotic and you're stupid, and therefore you don't stick to your guns. But now that this is coming unglued, I think the opportunity presents itself to allow something else to come about. And I think the young people especially are aware of the seriousness. They're more prone to believe in principle and to look for consistency. So I think the opportunity is there. I think I happen to be at the right place at the right time. But I think there's a great need for this message. It's not a Ron Paul message. It's really a message that's been around for a long time. It's a continuation of what the founders actually dealt with in our early history. And right now, I'm excited because the young people have, been attracted to these views.
And it's amazing to me what a following of young folks you've had and how passionate they are when these are ideas that typically you arrive at later in life, as Churchill alluded to. There are a number of things I want to get to. I'm trying to decide exactly. You did not endorse Mitt Romney. Why?
I didn't have enough agreement with him on his views, and I didn't want to endorse the views. I happened to have gotten along with him real well, and he was probably one that I talked to and was friendly with as much as any of them, when we did our debates. But I think he understood me pretty well, and I understood him. And, when we talked about family and children and all, we did quite well. But, he didn't quite come close to what I was trying to say, on the foreign policy. Didn't have a lot of interest in monetary policy and that sort of thing. So I just didn't want to endorse somebody that really wasn't going to do, I didn't think would do a whole lot to move in the direction that I was trying to go.
In the long run, is the Republic better off that he lost?
Oh, I don't think better off. You could make the case for either way, and I sort of come down on it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. There's a different flavor, and I know generally how you feel and how I feel generally, and a lot of people that listen to you feel, about our current president. But the current president hasn't really changed foreign policy. He doesn't change monetary policy from the Republicans. He doesn't change the welfare system. He might be more aggressive on it, and Republicans will talk about cutting back. But the system is ingrained with interventionism, intervene in our personal lives, intervene in the economy, intervene in the affairs of other nations. And Republicans and Democrats, although they have strong rhetoric and they seem to be fighting and all, I think there are some people, I think there are some very powerful, wealthy people that are global in nature that really didn't care that much. I think their interests would be protected, with either president. So I don't think that we're better off or worse off. I think we're only going to be better off if we change the direction of our country by changing our attitude, what the role of government ought to be, and nobody seems to want to ask the precise question, what should the role of government be? This is what the founders asked, and they tried to describe what the role of government should be in the Constitution. But today the role of government for 90% of the people in government is always run the nanny state, have a welfare system, print the money when you need it. Deficits don't matter that much. We have an obligation to be involved in other countries, and that if we don't like somebody, we send them a drone missile over there and kill them, even if we kill a bunch of kids. And both sides have been doing that. So I just think that we have to ask that precise question, what should the role of government be?
Ron Paul is our guest. Am I hearing you say in that last answer that there's not a dime's worth of difference between the two parties?
I think on the surface they pretend to be different, but long-term policies don't change. I think that from my viewpoint of strict philosophy, I don't think there's a whole lot of difference. But I don't even think they pretend there'd be a lot of difference. They want to, sort of meld themselves into the same thing. Republicans don't want to be seen as being cold-hearted and not believe in the welfare state. They have to, endorse that. And if Democrats say, well, we shouldn't be fighting so many wars, then, we'll be weak on defense. So they have to show how tough they are, and they have to go start another war. So I think ultimately there's not any significant difference on the results.
Is Ron Paul is our guest. Is the threat by Iran to American security overstated?
Grossly so. I mean, it's a third world nation, and they don't have a significant army. They don't have intercontinental ballistic missiles, and they've been harassed for a long time. They haven't invaded a neighboring country in centuries, and if we're honest with ourselves, we can look and see why are they angry at us? Why are they annoyed with the U.S. government? Well, maybe it's because we threw their elected leader out in the 1950s and ushered in the radicalism, of the Ayatollah by 1979. And then when we encouraged and supported Iraq fighting the Iranians, the Iranians say, well, why are the Americans always wanting to kill us? And why are they getting involved? But they don't have an army, navy. They're 7,000 miles from us. They haven't threatened us. They don't have a nuclear weapon. Just think of the time we have spent over the concern about a nuclear weapon that doesn't exist, and yet we lived through, and I was in the military during this time, we lived through the Cold War when the Soviets had 30,000 of them, and some of them 90 miles off our shore. In comparison, we just looking for trouble, and now all we do is put sanctions on these people, try to starve them and punish the people, and then they get angrier at us, which ruins the dissidents in Iran. Would like to get rid of their ruthless leaders, but we do all these things, and they think, well, that means they'll get mad at their leaders. No, they get mad at us, and they have to rally around their leaders. So I think our foreign policy is so foolish, and Iran just does not pose a threat to us. I think it's there to stir the people up and always have an enemy out there. First it was Iraq. Remember how they built up the Iraq war? They were about to bomb us and invade us, and they had nothing. They had zero. And we were their allies for 30 years. It's this on again, off again that that is disgusting. Think of all those years we pumped these billions and billions of dollars into Egypt. Now the radicals overthrow
Ron Paul, I have 10 seconds left. I would be remiss if I didn't say on behalf of our listeners, for folks who voted for you and those who wish they had, you are a true American patriot. I have a lot of respect for you, sir.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being on.